So every manager is always going to tell you that you should specialize and get better at something. I think that this is actually a really good thing for an organization to actually do that. But it's actually the complete opposite thing that you should be doing at any given time. In fact, companies have to deal with this all of the time in terms of how they should do that, but they just don't tell you this. They call it a different name. So companies typically call this research and development, where they're wasting money on things that are completely irrelevant, that don't seem to make sense. And it's not because they're actually trying to build something for tomorrow. They're actually just trying to develop the capability of doing new things. So it's like what you do, the same thing, but nobody tells you this. In fact, most of the market, even at the company level, sort of persuades people not to do this because it makes people that are investing in you the most amount of money to always think about how to optimize in the particular domain. As a well-known problem that happens that we think about a lot. This well-known problem, it's about thinking of how much that you should be completely relevant today within your particular area, your particular domain, and how much you should be forecasting into the future and looking. And what it's going to feel like for you, it's going to feel weird, right? You're going to be uncomfortable. You never really, like, people never really get you. They're always like, yeah, but he's kind of doing this kind of weird stuff over here. He's supposed to be doing this over here, but he's doing this weird stuff over here. And I don't really get it. I don't think he should be doing that. And that's just the basics of what you are going to go through. And if you're thinking as a company, there's lots of companies that do this, that even when they do it, people still question it, right? Like major, massive companies do this, like, um, 3M, um, large tech companies like Google and all of these companies that everybody knows are Alphabet, I guess it's called. But it's all these companies that people know and they do this, but they still get the pressure of like, hey, you're doing the wrong thing. Why are you wasting time and money doing these things that are really goofy over here? And the reason is, and Google's a great case of this, is because you can get all of your resources and money from a particular thing, right? Like search, Google's been like the dominant player for 20 years in search. But all of a sudden, some goofy kid comes by, is like, I'm going to build and makes ChatGPT, right? And he's just Sam Altman. He's really smart, and I think I would really get along with him. I think he's like, but he's pretty nerdy, right? Like you don't know when this is going to happen, how this is going to play out, and I think Google is actually going to go through some really hard times in the next little bit. They'll manage. They'll get through because they've actually invested in doing all of these weird things. They know how to handle when the domain changes. They know how to handle all of this stuff. And I have very, very high hopes that they will get through it. So, this applied to you means that you're going to want to do a really great job in your domain because that's going to make you more money today. And there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure for people they're going to really get down on you, right? And say you're wasting your time. Um, even family and friends are not going to understand what you're doing. And it's going to be just weird, right? I'm going to tell you this because I live it all of the time and I don't really understand it as well, but I know it's a practice that I go through. And what you have to do is think about, all right, okay, so the environment's changing. Let's figure out how to deal with this. And here's the news flash. So that's going to be all of the time. There's always something that comes up there's always something that's going to make you a little bit weird because you like this thing. And you just simply have to stand up and go, you know what? I'm going to do this. And people are going to think that I'm weird. And that's okay. Right. And that's where you default to thinking like, that's okay. Where I'm giving you the forgiveness of yourself to get up and do this. And it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like you're wasting time, money, resources. Nobody's going to understand it. All of the traditional stuff. But you're going to get up and say, yeah, I'm going to just do this because this is just something I want to do. And that's where a lot of this doesn't really quite make sense with how we think about the world. And I don't have a good way of thinking about it either. I've been studying this stuff for a long time. I don't think anybody really has a good sense of it. So on one side, you have to kind of like really optimize and become very efficient at something. But think about all those people that optimize on Google search, right? Um, they kind of had some issues. But if you kind of are always thinking about doing different things, you can get through it and do okay. That's all I wanted to say. Just make sure that I had something goofed up on my phone, but basically all I wanted to say is just make sure that you're always not fitting in to some degree. Like trying to figure out how to be as efficient as you possibly can, but always be a little bit of a pain because people can't figure you out. And if you do that repeatedly, something good will happen. I don't know what it is. Nobody can really sort of suggest that there is a right way of doing this, but just realize that's part of the game is the being weird and really efficient in the particular domain. And the really efficient is not all of the time, where you just have to be okay with yourself at any given moment to say, yeah, I'm just kind of goofy. And that's okay. If you practice this, I don't know. I can't say that, everything is going to work out because it's very difficult. There's lots of other nuances that happen. But just maybe